Good evening, everyone. Growing up in India, in a culture rich with noise, color, and opinions, I was taught to speak up, to fight for what I believed in, to never be silent in the face of injustice. And I still believe in that, but over time, I discovered something deeper, something stronger, something far more powerful than I ever expected. Silence, yes, silence, in a world that is constantly buzzing, tweeting, liking, shouting. Silence is the one thing people are terrified of. We fill our lives with noise because noise feels like action, and action feels like control. But silence makes us face ourselves, and that is where the power lies. I've stood on red carpets surrounded by flashing cameras. I've spoken on global stages. I've walked into rooms where my accent, my skin, or my gender made me the outsider. And in those moments, my power wasn't in shouting to be heard, it was in being still enough to be seen. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing to listen when others argue. It's taking a breath before reacting. It's observing a room, learning its rhythm, and then owning it. In silence, we hear the truth. We feel our intuition. We get to know who we are, not who the world tells us to be. That kind of clarity, that's unstoppable. I've learned that the loudest person in the room is often the most unsure. Real confidence doesn't need to prove itself. Real confidence can sit quietly and still command respect. Think about it. Nature teaches us this. The moon doesn't make noise, it just glows. The ocean, when calm, is even more awe-inspiring than when it roars. Silence is presence, it's power without ego. So today, I want to challenge you. Embrace the silence. Don't fear it. Use it. Use it to reflect, to reset. To remember that your value isn't measured by how loud you speak, but by how deeply you listen, how clearly you understand, and how gracefully you act. Because when you master silence, you master yourself. And once you master yourself, there is nothing in this world you cannot conquer. In today's fast-paced world, noise surrounds us everywhere. From the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep, our lives are filled with sounds, alarms ringing, phones buzzing, endless notifications demanding our attention. Social media constantly pulls us in, creating a non-stop stream of opinions, reactions, and conversations. In this constant noise, everyone is trying to be heard, to stand out, to make an impact by speaking louder and faster. It feels like if you don't add your voice to the chaos, you might be ignored, invisible, or forgotten. But here's the paradox. In this world saturated with noise, silence becomes not a weakness, but an incredibly rare and powerful tool. When everything around us is loud, choosing to be silent is actually a radical act. It's a conscious decision to step back, to create space where clarity can grow. Silence gives you the power to rise above the crowd without shouting or competing. Silence is often misunderstood. Some see it as passivity or fear, but in truth, silence is strength. It's the strength to resist reacting impulsively, to hold your ground without needing to fill every moment with words. When you embrace silence, you demonstrate self-control and confidence, qualities that speak louder than any speech. Because silence demands attention, it invites others to lean in and truly listen. In silence, you create an aura of calm and mystery. People are naturally drawn to those who don't need to constantly prove themselves with noise. When you are silent in the right moments, your presence becomes powerful. It signals that you are thoughtful, intentional, and secure enough to allow others the space to speak while you listen. This dynamic shifts the balance of power in your favor, because you are not caught in the exhausting cycle of trying to outshout or out-argue others. Moreover, silence in a noisy world helps protect your mental and emotional well-being. Constant noise can overwhelm your mind, cloud your judgment, and drain your energy. Silence gives you a chance to recharge, reflect, and gain perspective. It's in these quiet moments that you can hear your own inner voice clearly, your intuition, your true values, and your authentic desires. Ultimately, silence is a form of empowerment. In a culture that celebrates volume and speed, choosing silence is a way to reclaim control over your attention and your life. It is a powerful tool that, when used wisely, allows you to stand tall, think deeply, and act with purpose. In a world full of distractions and constant chatter, silence is the gateway to truly knowing ourselves. When we allow ourselves moments of quiet, free from external noise and pressure, we create the opportunity to connect deeply with our inner world. This connection is essential for self-awareness, the foundation upon which clarity and purpose are built. Self-awareness means understanding who you are beyond the surface, beyond the roles you play, the opinions of others, or the expectations society places on you. It means recognizing your thoughts, emotions, strengths, and weaknesses without judgment. But achieving this level of insight is impossible when we are overwhelmed by noise, constantly reacting to stimuli rather than reflecting on what really matters. Silence offers a rare chance to step back and observe ourselves honestly. In those quiet moments, we become aware of our true feelings and motivations instead of being swept along by habits or external influences. It's like looking into a clear mirror where our reflection is unclouded by distraction. This clarity helps us understand why we make certain choices, what triggers our fears or insecurities, and what genuinely brings us joy and fulfillment. Without silence, our minds become cluttered with endless thoughts, worries, and noise from the outside world. This mental clutter can cloud our judgment and make it difficult to see the path ahead clearly. When we embrace silence, our minds calm down and the fog begins to lift. We can prioritize what really matters and make decisions based on true insight rather than impulse or fear. Moreover, silence deepens our intuition. Intuition is that quiet inner knowing that guides us when logic and facts aren't enough. It's often drowned out by the noise of daily life, but when we listen in silence, it grows stronger and more reliable. This inner guidance is invaluable in navigating complex situations and making choices aligned with our authentic selves. Silence also cultivates emotional resilience. By facing our thoughts and feelings head-on in quiet moments, we build a stronger relationship with ourselves. We learn to accept our imperfections, process difficult emotions, and develop empathy. This emotional clarity empowers us to respond to life's challenges with grace rather than react impulsively. In essence, silence is not just the absence of sound, it's the presence of self-understanding. It allows us to cut through the distractions and connect with our core, revealing the truth about who we are and what we want. From this place of clarity, we can move forward confidently, grounded in authenticity and purpose. True confidence is often misunderstood. In a society that values loud voices and bold displays, we tend to equate confidence with volume, aggression, or the need to prove ourselves constantly. But real confidence is quite the opposite. It is calm, grounded, and quiet. It doesn't need to shout to be noticed because it comes from a deep inner knowing and self-acceptance. When someone is truly confident, they are comfortable in their own skin. They don't feel the need to dominate conversations or compete for attention. Instead, their presence alone commands respect and trust. This kind of confidence is steady and unshakable because it is not dependent on external validation or fleeting achievements. It is rooted in self-awareness and a clear understanding of one's values and abilities. Loud confidence can often mask insecurity. People who feel uncertain or vulnerable sometimes compensate by raising their voices or acting aggressively to hide their doubts. In contrast, quiet confidence reveals itself in how a person listens more than speaks, how they observe before reacting, and how they choose their words thoughtfully rather than impulsively. This restraint shows strength and maturity. Calm confidence also allows us to handle challenges with grace. When faced with difficult situations, confident individuals don't panic or overreact. They remain composed, assessing the situation clearly and responding with intention rather than emotion. This ability to stay centered, even in chaos, sets them apart and helps them lead effectively. Being grounded in confidence means knowing your worth without arrogance. It means recognizing your strengths and weaknesses and embracing both. Confident people don't need to put others down to feel powerful. They uplift and inspire by example, demonstrating humility alongside self-assurance. In everyday life, this kind of confidence can transform relationships and opportunities. People are naturally drawn to those who are calm and steady because it creates a sense of safety and reliability. Whether in personal conversations, professional settings, or public appearances, a quiet, confident demeanor communicates trustworthiness and competence. Moreover, True confidence frees us from the exhausting cycle of constantly seeking approval. It encourages authenticity because we no longer feel pressured to fit into molds or perform for others. When we cultivate calm confidence, we live more fully and freely, aligned with who we truly are. Ultimately, confidence is not about how loudly you can be heard. It's about how firmly you stand in your truth. It's about being so sure of yourself that you don't need to prove it to anyone else. That is the kind of power that lasts and transforms lives. In the rush of everyday life, it's easy to react impulsively to situations, especially when emotions run high or pressure mounts. But silence offers us the precious gift of pause, a moment to step back, observe, and truly understand what's happening before we take action. This pause can make all the difference between a reaction that we later regret and a response that reflects wisdom and intention. When we remain silent, we create space to listen, not just to others, but to the environment, the context, and most importantly, to ourselves. We begin to notice details that might otherwise be missed in the heat of the moment. This awareness helps us gather information, understand the dynamics at play, and grasp the deeper meaning behind words and actions. Observing in silence also allows us to see beyond our immediate emotions. When we act too quickly, our decisions are often colored by frustration, fear, or anger. Silence gives us a chance to recognize these feelings, to let them settle, and to separate them from the facts. This emotional clarity is essential for making thoughtful, constructive choices rather than impulsive ones. In addition, silence helps us understand other people's perspectives. When we listen quietly, without interrupting or rushing to respond, we show respect and empathy. This openness often encourages others to communicate more honestly and fully, revealing insights that might otherwise remain hidden. Understanding the motivations, fears, and desires of others equips us to interact more effectively and compassionately. Moreover, silence fosters patience, which is a powerful leadership and life skill. In a culture that celebrates quick fixes and immediate gratification, choosing to pause and reflect demonstrates strength and discipline. It shows that we value thoughtful action over hasty reaction. Patience nurtured through silence often leads to better solutions and healthier relationships. By practicing silence before action, we gain control over our responses. Instead of being driven by external chaos or internal turmoil, we act from a place of calm and purpose. This control not only improves outcomes, but also protects our integrity and reputation. Ultimately, silence is not an absence but a presence, the presence of awareness, understanding, and intentionality. It transforms how we engage with the world, making our actions more meaningful and impactful. When we allow ourselves to observe and understand before we act, we become wiser, more compassionate, and more powerful in every area of life. Nature is one of the most profound teachers of life's deepest truths, and one of its most powerful lessons is the strength found in silence. When we observe the natural world, we see countless examples where silence isn't emptiness, but a presence filled with power, calm, and resilience. This silent power often surpasses noise and chaos, reminding us that true strength doesn't always need to be loud or aggressive. Take the moon, for example. It doesn't shout or make a sound, yet it illuminates the darkest nights with a soft, steady glow. The moon's silent light has guided travelers, inspired poets, and brought calm to restless minds for centuries. Its quiet presence commands attention not by force but by consistency and grace. This teaches us that being quiet doesn't mean being invisible. Sometimes it means shining in a way that words or noise never could. Similarly, the ocean is a master of silence and power. When it's calm, its stillness is awe-inspiring. The vast, quiet surface holds immense strength beneath, powerful enough to shape continents and influence weather. The ocean's silence is not weakness, but a reminder that strength often lies beneath the surface, waiting to be harnessed. When the ocean roars, it is impressive and dramatic, but its silent moments reveal its true, steady force. This teaches us that quiet moments of reflection and calm carry a deep power that loud outbursts rarely achieve. Even trees show us this lesson. They stand tall and silent, rooted deeply in the earth. They don't rush or shout, but grow steadily and patiently over years, weathering storms with quiet resilience. Their silence speaks of endurance, patience, and strength without aggression. They remind us that power is not always about immediate impact, but about sustained presence and growth. In nature, silence also creates space for life to thrive. Quiet forests, still lakes, and tranquil meadows provide balance and harmony. This peaceful silence nurtures life, heals wounds, and offers renewal. It shows us that silence can be a source of healing and restoration, not just an absence of noise. By observing nature's silent power, we learn that silence is not emptiness or weakness. It is presence, strength, and grace. It encourages us to embrace quiet moments, to trust the calm, and to find our own inner power in stillness. Nature's example reminds us that silence can be our greatest ally in a noisy world. Mastering silence is more than just learning to be quiet. It is about developing a deep inner mastery that transforms how we live, think, and act. When we truly embrace silence, we begin to master ourselves. This mastery is the foundation of true success because it connects us to our core, the place where clarity, strength, and purpose reside. To master oneself means to have control over one's thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Silence creates the space necessary for this control. When the noise of the outside world and the chatter of our minds settle, we can observe ourselves objectively. We recognize patterns, biases, fears, and desires without judgment. This awareness allows us to choose our responses deliberately rather than being driven by impulses or external pressures. Through silence, we develop patience and resilience. Instead of reacting immediately to every challenge or criticism, we learn to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully. This ability to hold space for ourselves strengthens our emotional intelligence and deepens our understanding of others. When we respond from a place of calm self-mastery, we inspire trust and respect, which are critical ingredients for leadership and success. Mastery of silence also leads to greater focus and creativity. In the quiet, distractions fade away, and we can concentrate fully on the task or vision at hand. Many great thinkers, artists, and leaders have found that their most innovative ideas come in moments of stillness. Silence nurtures the mind's ability to connect dots, see possibilities, and access deeper wisdom. When we master silence, we also cultivate humility. We accept that we don't have to have all the answers immediately, and that sometimes the best way forward is to listen and learn. This humility allows for growth and openness to new perspectives, which enriches our journey towards success. Furthermore, mastering silence means we no longer seek validation from others. We become self-reliant and confident in our own worth. This inner confidence frees us from the anxiety of approval or comparison, allowing us to pursue our goals with authenticity and courage. Ultimately, mastering silence is mastering the relationship with oneself. It grounds us in who we truly are and what we genuinely want. From this place of self-mastery, success is not defined merely by external achievements, but by fulfillment, balance, and lasting impact. By embracing silence, we unlock the power within to lead a purposeful and empowered life. It is this mastery of silence and self that creates the foundation for all true success. Thank you.